Hey folks, welcome to the very sunny and unseasonably hot afternoon in central Mississippi. Welcome to the videos, folks. I got a couple of things we're going to cover. We got a fairly simple dish, but got a couple of different things we're going to cover real quick. One, I apologize. Let me check my microphone. One, I apologize. We're having issues with some video software. Hopefully this video is going to come out on some new software. The last couple have been kind of sketchy. I don't really like the way they came out. But know that we're on the road to recovery in that. So what are we going to cook today since we're talking about a simple dish? And folks, we're going to talk about this a little bit. Uh, this can go multi different ways. What are we talking about? A radish. Yes, a radish. Most people shave these up, put them in a salad, or they pickle them, or they eat them raw, or they do different things. Folks, when you cook a radish and you saute it, the sugars and everything that happen from the heat inside the radish transforms that radish into something different. And a lot of times when people eat radishes that I've cooked, they don't realize they're eating a radish. The bittery part goes away. These are an excellent substitute for potatoes in stews and soups. A lot of people use it, especially in the Midwest and up north. But a radish is something that keeps very good, especially a fresh radish. You can actually eat the radish tops, believe it or not. And so I'm going to saute some of these radishes up for you today, just very simple. I'm not going to do anything that's going to be, we're not going to add anything to them. We're just going to do this to show you the difference in what happens within the radish. So to start off, I'm going to get the skillet over here. Folks, we got a pretty good fire. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. I take the radish, typically the normal size radish, and I quarter it into a little piece like this. But I quarter the radish into a size about like that. Depending on the size they are, how long they're going to take to cook. Now, you can roast them in the oven on a baking sheet, or you can do them like I'm going to do them out here in a skillet. I prefer the skillet. To me, it has a little bit better taste than roasting it in the oven. Now, we're going to be very simple, but you want them to be uniform in size so that some doesn't get more done than others or get done quicker. So you want to keep them about that simple size. Now, folks, we got our skillet on, and to that skillet, we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and start letting that get hot. I guarantee you it's not going to take very long for that to get hot on the skillet. All right, folks, we got our olive oil in there, and we're a little downhill on the one side, so I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil in here. Now, we will add some butter to this as it cooks. The butter at first sometimes on a really hot fire can get dark and discolor some of the radishes. We're going to put about half of these in this skillet. Maybe a little bit more than half, but the skillet's not super huge, and we're really not cooking a meal as much as we're just talking to you about these radishes. We'll set these aside. Now, folks, while these radishes are starting to come around a little bit, and we'll come in here a little bit and show you that, I want to talk about something coming up in the future. Some of you may recognize this cookbook called Lord Honey, written by Chef Jason Smith. Jason won the Next Food Network Star season 13 and many other things on the Food Network. And he is going to be cooking with me October the 5th. We've got the venue secured at Sullivan Creek Ranch, very beautiful venue. But Jason's going to come out and cook on the chuck wagon for us. And one thing I'm looking forward to is we're going to do the menu is going to be Jason's dishes that we're going to cook. I guarantee you that's going to be a very fun and a very good culinary event for people to go attend. You can get tickets on SullivanCreekRanch.com. There's links on Jason's website. Uh, you can get there through my Facebook page. There's a couple of different ways to get your tickets. We're cooking along here pretty good, folks. We may slow this down just a little bit so that we don't get too brown on the outside before the inside gets done. But I know I kind of went through that event pretty good. Jason specializes in what he refers to as country bling. He grew up in southern Kentucky on a farm. Uh, got a lot of good southern dishes that he puts a little twist to. As commonly, I put twist to some of the dishes that I cook. But Jason does it, puts a little bloom and a little sparkle into everything that he does. And we're really looking forward to him coming out and cooking with us on the chuck wagon. And meet my girl Sarah. I'm kind of waiting on that one. But Jason's not he's not afraid of outdoor cooking. He's done a lot of outdoor cooking. Um, we're really looking forward to this event. We'll talk more about it as we go on. So we're getting our radishes browned up, and we're moving them on and off of the fire. We don't have a high and low knob. We can't turn it down. The distance between what you're cooking and the fire is your heat control. The further it's from the fire, the slower you cook. So you can see we kind of hit them pretty hard. They browned up a little. What we're looking is for them to get a translucent look to them and a little bit of a bubbly texture to the skin. Keep the camera coming up there to where you want to be. You can see we're still cooking, not on the fire. And that's the thing with cast iron, folks. With aluminum pans or steel pans, when you pull them off the heat, they get cool really quick. Cast iron doesn't do that. It's going to retain this heat. And actually, there's some dishes that you can get your cast iron good and hot, and you can cook the dish after you pull the cast off the fire in the residual heat that's in the cast iron. Folks, one thing about radishes, if you're watching your carb intake, radishes are less carbs, a lot less carbs than a potato. And I've done radishes in a various different ways. But one thing that I'll just tell you that I've done is I browned off my radishes like we're doing today. And then I'll take the residual butter and garlic and oil. I'll put some flour in there and I'll make a roux. And I end up making a white gravy, and I put the radishes back in. And it simulates gravy with potatoes. Okay? And if you peel your radishes, they're all white, and it looks like potatoes that are in there. There's a slightly different taste to it, but it accomplishes things. It goes well. Let me just put it that way. It goes well with a lot of different beef dishes and pork dishes. But radishes are very versatile. And every time I bring up cooking radishes this way, or cooking radishes, period, they're it brings up a lot of topics. A lot of people have opinions over radishes, uh, but all I can do is tell you to try them. Try them out and see what they're like. I get a lot of raised eyebrows when I tell people I'm cooking radishes, but once they taste them, they raise the other eyebrow, if that makes sense. We're going to let these go a minute, come back here in a minute. Hey, folks, these radishes are about halfway done. And what I do when they're about half done is I put a stick of butter. Now, the size of this pan, a stick might be a little too much, but we're going to go ahead and stick it in there, let that move down. And we're going to add some garlic and a little salt and pepper. So we're going to shake a little pepper in there. I'm going to say to taste, maybe a half a teaspoon is all, and the same on salt. This is a salted butter, so we have to be careful with that. Give this a little toss. Probably reduce our heat just a little bit. And we're going to add some garlic to this. Do not add dried garlic. Minced garlic, dried garlic, anything like that. Don't add that. That has a tendency in a sauteed dish to burn before it gets the flavor into what you're doing. I use fresh garlic or use a jarred garlic. It's a little easier. We're going to put about a half a teaspoon in there is all we're going to put in there. And we're going to give this another toss. Folks, we always thank y'all for subscribing to our channel and watching us on YouTube. We cannot say that enough. I mean, we super appreciate everybody's support and their generosity when we're out. I mean, the first time, and ever that I can remember, I was recognized from a YouTube video. It's never ever happened to me before. This lady came up and asked me if that's who I was, and just really made you feel good inside. Emmett's out on this hot day too, kind of seeing what we got going on out here in the kitchen. And I refer to this as a kitchen. It's my kitchen. Just like when I cook on my chuck wagon, it's my kitchen. Folks, we're getting pretty close on this, so we're going to pull it back off one more time so our garlic does not burn. And that's an important thing. Burnt garlic gets bitter, folks, so be careful with your garlic that you do not burn your garlic. It'll get really bitter. Now, one of the things that putting that butter in about mid-cooking process actually kind of cools it a little bit, and when the garlic goes in on top of that butter, gives you a little bit of a cushion. I'm going to use this spatula and push on one of these radishes. And we're about 3/4 of the way of where we want to be. We're going to come back in here a minute, folks, and show you the completed dish. All right, everybody, we got this looking good. We're going to set it on that stool in place of a hot pot holder. And we're going to continue to toss it a little until it quits actually cooking. In a reference to what I said earlier about the residual heat within your cast iron. You will get the residual heat. And while this is kind of coming down just a little bit, I got to remind you one more time. Come on out and see Chef Jason Smith in person. Lord Honey, as he is referred to. He's got a tremendous amount of Jasonisms. He's a funny, funny man. I guarantee you that you're going to be not only stuffed from great food, but you're going to be rolling from the laughter that's going to come out of this event. Be sure to get your tickets, folks, and come on out and see us. And these are coming down just a little bit. So I'm not really going to plate these necessarily, as well as I'm going to try to do a side-by-side for you. I'm going to grab a couple of radishes that are uncooked, and we're going to grab a couple in here of cooked radishes. All right, folks, you can see right here in this white bowl, this is the raw radish. Now you can see how hard it is, and it's got the full radish flavor. And you can see how these look that we've sauteed. You can see they're soft, they come right apart, and they're not going to taste anything like that radish. Not just because of the butter and the garlic that we put on there, but because what the heat does to the radish. The heat literally transforms this radish through breaking down the sugars and all the different things and the elements that are within inside this radish, and it makes it completely different. And also good. Yes, you can still tell it's a radish, but it doesn't have that radish flavor that comes out. So, folks, we did radishes for you, and it is a controversial vegetable. there is 1,000 opinions on a cooked radish, a raw radish, how to do radishes and everything like that. I've done these radishes with asparagus. I've done them with gravy. I've done very different things with them, green beans, and I don't get any complaints. So try them out. Please try it and give it a good shot on what you got. And folks, we talked about the radish tops earlier, and we don't have the radish tops. But you can take the radish tops, chop them up, and you can actually do them like a creamed spinach. And they'll have a mustard green type bite to them a little bit. But with the cream that you put in there to do the cream spinach, they're really good. And they're also really good to take that cream spinach and put them over the top of your cooked radishes. That's a dish all in itself. So, folks, come on out and see Jason Smith and me in October. And like we end every video you got, or we got, enjoy your food.